Have you ever been in a situation where your teammates could have saved you, but they just didn't? Or maybe you've been in a situation where your teammate did something they shouldn't have and ended up saving an enemy from certain death. If you've recently been a victim of these familiar sounding circumstances, then send this video to a friend so they know how to help you out next time. This is a guide to teamwork, broken down into 4 main mechanics to master. Number 1, peel. Arguably the most important skill to learn is how to peel for your team. Peel refers to stopping an enemy from doing damage to your teammates. Before we get into how to peel, it's important to understand the priority of different focus states, so let's quickly recap them. Non-focus is the lowest level of attack. When 2 non-focus strikes are thrown at the same time, they will clash with each other. The next highest level of focus is blue focus. When holding any focus, a focus attack of a lower level will not stagger. This is why you don't get staggered from non-focus attacks while holding blue focus. Blue focus clashes with itself, and blue focus is the only form of focus that can be parried with the red flash counter mechanic. The next highest level of focus is purple focus. Purple focus will clash with itself, but it will also clash with blue focus. Remember, only blue focus can be parried, so purple focus cannot be. There's currently no way to charge a purple focus attack with a weapon, only release attacks that change into purple after being blue, but there are skills that utilize extended purple focus. Purple focus is built into some weapons by default, and some soul jades change attacks from blue focus to purple focus. The highest level of weapon focus is gold focus. This focus state is built into some weapons like staff, spear, and nunchucks, and many of the strongest soul jades will utilize gold weapon focus like Merciless Havoc, Dragon Roar, and Aurora Burst. Gold focus attacks will also clash with each other, and they get priority over every other weapon focus state. All of these are encapsulated under weapon focus states. The next highest level of focus is skill focus. Skill focus comes from using a character's F skill, and charging skill focus does not get staggered by gold weapon focus since it's a higher level of focus. Skill focus can be charged by some characters, and this can be useful for tanking through golden weapon focus attacks and then using golden skill focus to interrupt it. Some skills gain gold focus immediately when activated, like Akos F1, and these can be used to interrupt soft true combos. I made a whole video on this concept you can check out after this one. It was made a while back, but the concepts will still hold true today. Some other skills don't gain gold focus immediately, like Balda F1, and some skills don't have any skill focus protection, like Tarka Fireball. The highest level of focus is ultimate focus. Ultimate focus comes from heroes using their ultimate, and it's just a more powerful version of skill focus. Almost every ultimate utilizes ultimate focus at some point, whether it's only for a brief moment on activation, like with Timulch, or for the duration of the entire ultimate, like with Viper. Each ultimate has different priorities against other ultimates, but that is a long topic for another day. The thing to know is that the only focus state that can stop ultimate focus is a higher priority ultimate focus. With this order of focus priority established, let's get back to the main subject, peel. When you see your teammate about to get hit by an enemy, you can peel for them by matching an enemy's focus level to clash an attack, or by using a higher level of focus to stagger an enemy while they're attacking. Stopping an enemy from hitting a teammate is the most valuable thing in a fight, but you have to be ready for the enemy team to peel for each other as well. This is why it's important to use your abilities for your teammates, and taking advantage of soul jades that give access to gold weapon focus is extremely useful in duos and trios for giving your team frequent god level peel. It is worth noting that some skills, even though they have skill focus, still cannot peel a parry. These skills are getting less common now as the game brings more consistency to this area by giving different skills the ability to override gold weapon focus, including those from a parry, since a parry punish attack is equally as gold focus as any other gold weapon focus. Number 2, awareness. The second skill I want to focus on for this video is making sure you're paying attention to more than just the enemy in a team fight. My favorite callout in trios is, look at me, because a good teammate that is looking at you will immediately know what to do, or at least be able to take action on your actions. Most of the time, you can position your camera where you can see not only your enemies, but also your teammates, and if there's anyone you can't see, you should take a mental note on what they're doing when you stop looking, and predict what they will do while listening to their audio cues, so you can know where they're positioned without having to see them. If you're paying attention to where everyone is and what they're doing, it's much easier to know where to be and what focus level to use to peel for a teammate or to make an offensive play against the enemy. You should also have some established plays that you will make on enemies that utilize any offensive abilities and ultimates you may have, and try to refrain from using your abilities or ultimates too carelessly or selfishly. Using your abilities in coordination with your team is the definition of teamwork, and that power can't be used if your team is unaware of what's going on and what they should be doing. I've covered some of the most popular trios teams in a recent video that can get you started with conceptualizing meta team comp play strategies, and even how to come up with your own unique team comp for ranked or quick match. That link is in the description. Knowing when to leave a fight is just as important as knowing when to start one, and watching the area around a fight for third parties can save up to 6 lives at once. This could even extend to being aware of your role in the team, like knowing when to use your abilities or what objectives you are personally responsible for. Number 3. Positioning. Positioning is one of the hardest things to master, and in this sense, I'm referring to how to position your team for a fight before it starts, and how to position during the fight based on not only what your enemies are doing, but also what your teammates are doing. This ties into having the awareness to watch your team and enemies simultaneously, but the crucial micro-interactions that win or lose a fight are often how someone is positioning in relation to their own team. For example, if your Karumi is getting focused first and she's wave rolling away from her team to try to save herself, she's continually making distance from her own team while keeping enemies between herself and her teammates. This is bad positioning and makes it hard for teammates to peel. Compare that to your Karumi getting focused first and she's wave rolling around her team to put her teammates between herself and the enemies. This makes it much easier for teammates to peel with weapon or ability focus, since they won't have to worry about closing the distance, and in turn, Karumi will be able to do her job of supporting her team. Positioning is the setup to every good play you can make in the game. Number 4. Objectives. Outside of team fighting, you can be a good teammate by having good map knowledge to know the locations of fireflies, rage cages, areas with lots of breakables for money, scouting bells, bushes that are safe from any scouting bells so you can lay low, ballistas, sand pears or other fruit, and other map-related mechanics that can give your team a tactical advantage. Another thing a good teammate will have some information on is the location of enemies based on where they dropped on the map at the beginning of each round and where the circles and Realm of Yang are dropping. It's a lot easier to track teams and predict where they will be if all 3 people on your team pay attention to the drop map instead of just the one that picks the drop. It's also good for the team to know roughly when the Realm of Yang and Morris Blessings will come down, so they can go for whichever of those will benefit them the most, or maybe they can willingly choose to ignore a Realm of Yang in favor of fighting outside of it. But it's important to know the timestamps of when the Realm and Blessings will give their first warning, when they open, and when they close. So I've taken the liberty of giving you the Trio's Ranked Mode timestamps for Realm of Yang and Morris Blessings, and I'll put them on the screen now. It's up to you to learn the timestamps for different modes, but I promise having this information in your mind makes you a better teammate. Another objective a good teammate might focus on is Moonbane Charms. Ideally, you want to get enough money to buy all the Moonbane Charms in the match immediately, but this isn't that easy unless you get multiple team wipes off spawn or combine some early game kills with some breakables. But being focused on getting Moonbanes and being experienced with when to throw which level of Bane, who should hold them, successfully getting Banes off during fights, and being able to keep enemies inside the area of your team's Moonbane all makes you a better teammate to have. So to recap, this video explained 4 major pillars of being a good teammate: peel, awareness, positioning, and objectives. This surely doesn't cover everything that you could do to be a good teammate, so let's end off with some quick tips to keep in mind. Be mindful of your teammate getting a parry. If you're watching the fight, you should be able to tell when your teammate could get a parry. It's important to not interrupt the parry, because even something as simple as a grapple stacker can give the enemy a chance to use a defensive ability before they get hit by a potentially lethal amount of damage. Instead, try to time your damage to hit as soon after the parry punish damage as possible. This concept extends to any time your team gets hard CC on an enemy. Try to be ready for the CC so you don't mess it up, and then time your attack with your teammates. Grapple staggers can also be used strategically as a short CC ability to land free shots or set up damage for your teammates, but can also be used to peel for a teammate who needs to create substantial distance immediately. If you have a teammate who is getting grappled on, it gives you a perfect opportunity for a counter grapple. Canceling your grapple immediately is a useful skill that you can endlessly practice in the 3D lobby. In team modes, getting a revive on a teammate is one of the most impactful things you can do to turn things around after someone on your team dies. Make reviving your team a top priority, even if it means you need to let a weaker team go for a moment to bring back a fallen teammate. On the flip side of this, stopping enemies from reviving is also incredibly important. So when you're third partying, make sure you're not letting any teams revive for free while you're distracted with getting kills. A good teammate doesn't say things they don't mean in the middle of a game because they're upset that they died or maybe things just aren't going their way. Everyone makes mistakes, and it's fine to talk about what someone else did wrong, but the best thing you could focus on is what you can control instead of directing anger towards your teammates. And sure, sometimes it's your Kurumi's fault that your team lost a fight because she just didn't use her ultimate. But you don't have to yell at her about it, you know? At the end of the day, it's just a game that a lot of people play for fun, so having a bad attitude can really bring the team's morale down, and then no one will play as good. I don't know about y'all, but if my teammate starts unnecessarily yelling and talking down to me about the video game, I'm just not going to want to play with them as much. This tip is incredibly undervalued and often ignored, but a good teammate knows when to combo and when not to combo. It can be very tempting to uppercut an enemy simply because you won neutral, but in a team fight, this is often not what you want to do. Unless you can see all the other enemies on the enemy team, going for a combo in a team fight is too risky and should be considered off limits. The most acceptable time for a combo is when you're in an isolated 1v1 and you're watching your current target's teammates, so you can stop comboing at a safe time to react to an enemy trying to peel for their teammate. Otherwise, a 1-2 hold check is better than an uppercut combo in a team fight. I could go on all day about how to be a good teammate, but I think this sums up a lot of the things I think of when I'm considering how good someone's teamwork really is. Let me know in the comments what you think makes a good teammate, or maybe some other qualities that you look for in a partner. If you're looking for some people to play with to show how good of a teammate you already are, you can join my Discord using the link in the description below. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel if you want to be notified whenever I upload. I've also been streaming every night on Twitch where we do more than just play Naraka, and that link is also in the description. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video, have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you all in the next one.